most people. And then sometimes come fight night, just whatever it is, like I'll get in the cage and I just kind of falls apart a little bit, like just mentally. Okay. Whatever is something, there's something, some sort of mental block, whatever it is, just kind of gets in the way. So like, for example, my last fight, that was my first professional fight. I had that over in Perth. Felt pretty good in the lead up. Like I definitely had some moments where I was like anxious or whatever.
Nerves.
Nerves.
That's normal, but
like come fight night, I felt pretty good considering. And then it was like the moment we touched gloves, it was just like the best way I can explain it is like shit the bed. Like just mentally just kind of shit the bed. Like I was like, for whatever reason it was, I just like couldn't put things together. Like I just felt, like mentally like there was a bit of fog or whatever it was. Like, and then, by the time I kind of maybe got past that a little bit, like I'd already lost the first 2 rounds. And then once you're in that kind of place, it's very hard to get back from that.
Maybe
pull
yourself back together.
Pull yourself out of that. Because it was almost like, because I think from what I remember is like the guy took me down and he was just had my back for the first round. And then I think the second round he took me down a couple of times. I got back up. But then it was just like, I feel like I was more just fighting not to lose. And it wasn't necessarily trying to win. It was like that was the mindset that I was in. It was just sort of like almost in like a bit of a panic. I can't explain it, but it was just bizarre. And I just couldn't kind of push past that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the thing I remember is like, this sounds so weird, but like this is like the kind of mental stuff that was going on is like my game plan for this one was to strike with the guy mainly because he was a bit more like it was more of a wrestler.
Yep.
So his plan, and which he did in the fight, was to take me down and control me from there. So my plan was to kind of avoid that, sprawl and brawl, just pick him apart if I could.
Keep on feet.
And I just remember like I was really working on throwing straight punches, just 1-2 down the line. So I'm working on that, like I start throwing my 1-2s, and then as I'm throwing my 1-2s, he literally just guards up like this, just a high guard covers his face. And then I was like, what do I do now? Because I just was so focused on throwing those 1-2s, I was like, oh, he's blocking, what do I do now? It's like, and like on reflection, it's like, what do you mean, what do you do now? Like, he's blocking up high, his body's exposed, his legs exposed, why aren't you kicking his legs, why aren't you hitting him in the body? But it was like, for whatever reason, I just had tunnel vision. I'm like, I can't do anything now. Like, I'm trying to hit him with the 1-2, he's blocking, I can't do anything. Like, that was just how, I don't know the words, but like, I guess like the mental blocks and stuff that I was having.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't free flowing.
Yeah, it was just so, like that's the best way I can, it wasn't free flowing, it was just like tunnel vision on these certain things.
Like I'm doing A, B, C and D, and then when those were no longer an option, it's like you almost like you struggled to readjust your vision.
Yeah, exactly. It was just such a frustrating fight because like, I mean, like I can say everything now, the guy clearly beat me on the night. It was just one of those moments where I felt like, I even said it to the guy that I fought, and I feel bad for saying it. It's like I've honestly felt like I beat myself in there before I got beat.
Yeah.
Like, and this is not to discredit the guy at all. Like, but everything he was doing, I'm like, it's not like I haven't seen this before. It's not like he's doing some weird takedown that I've never been exposed to. He's not hitting anything that I'm like, throwing like certain kicks that I've never seen, like, like your weird like spinning back kicks or whatever. There was nothing new. There was nothing I hadn't seen before, and it was just like I just couldn't put it together, or anything he was doing. I was like, oh, I know what he's doing, but I was just like a second behind.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It was weird. Like, and people probably don't talk about this much. They're just
so. But what's particularly sort of interesting about that is that you were saying, maybe I'm wrong, but you were saying before the fight you weren't feeling that.
I think like in the lead up, like how I'd like up and down days and whatnot, but that's kind of normal. Like you have days where you feel really confident. You have days where you're like, I'm a piece of shit. Like it's just how it is.
After the fight, have you seen the sports psych that you mentioned to talk about this, maybe why that was?
I haven't, but like it's one of those things again where I kind of just had so much going on that I kind of pushed it away. But like, I think it was literally today, like probably after I finish this, I'm going to message him and be like, hey, can we like set up a meet? Because I just need to start.
When was this fight, this pro fight of yours?
I reckon it was November or October.
So very
a while ago. So
yeah.
like I probably should have dealt with it, but it's like...
Yeah. Sorry.
But,
I mean, nothing wrong with allowing yourself some time just to bring yourself down from that heightened state of the fight, I imagine. You know, you probably need that sort of unwind time.
Oh, definitely. Like, you get on such a high. No matter win or lose, you get on such a high that... Yeah. And then when you come down, it's just...
What were your sort of feelings immediately post-fight? Was it...
Embarrassment. Literally, just that's the first thing that came to mind is like... I'm just sitting there and I'm just like... Because again, like I said, I felt like I beat myself. Like I didn't put my best self forward, and that was the most frustrating thing. Is because you're looking over at your coach, and they put all this time into you. You're thinking about all the training partners that have put all that time into you, and you're just like, fuck. Like I've had a few fights. I've been knocked out before, and that was easier to get over than this.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, getting knocked out still sucks, don't get me wrong.
I can imagine.
This was like when the time that I got knocked out in like an MMA fight, like I felt the best I ever had felt before. Like just felt sharp. Everything was on point. Felt good in the fight. I felt, well, pretty aware of what was going on until I obviously got caught. But you know what I mean? Like I felt great.
Yeah.
So it was easier to get over because it was like, I got caught. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, it's like, I left the fight, and the worst thing is I barely had a scratch on me. Like I only had a mark, and it was like behind my ear. Like my face was like it is now.
So it is just on those two, the comparison between when you got knocked out and this fight. Is it because it was almost like you were locked into the fight?
Yeah,
you were fighting well, and then
got caught.
It happens.
Yeah. Whereas this one, it's just like I didn't feel like I fought anywhere near to my capabilities.
Yeah.
If I had gone out there, had a hard fight and like, you know, just did everything that I trained to do, put it forward and it didn't work out, it still suck.
Yeah.
But it's easy to live with. When you go out there and you really feel like you just didn't put it all out there or didn't do even half the things that you could do, it sucks so much worse. Because like I said, like there was nothing that the guy did that was...
Crazy.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, what I guess I'm saying is like, I should have been able to deal with it a bit better than I did.
Yeah.
Like if he was just an amazing wrestler and he just got a hold of me and I just couldn't do anything and just kind of beat me up and like, I just felt completely lost because whatever he was doing was just next level.
Yeah, it was just something...
Again, that's sort of easy to get past as well. But like, it was because like everything that he kind of did, I'm like, I've seen this before, I've experienced this, like... It sounds rude to say, but there was, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but there was nothing that special about him.
No,
you know what I mean?
Must be the case, yeah.
Oh yeah, but like, you know, I don't want to just sit here and like trash the dude because you know he's a nice dude, whatever. Like,
but there was nothing otherworldly about what he was doing, and
it wasn't like he came in there like Khabib and just like fucked my life up.
Or was throwing some kicks like Rodriguez and he's throwing those spinning tornado kicks.
You know what I mean? Like just stuff that I couldn't deal with. Like this was stuff I could deal with. That's why it's so much harder. Like I haven't even watched it back yet.
Do you think you will?
At one point.
Or would you rather just let it go?
I think eventually I'll watch it back, but maybe not for a while. Because at the moment I just sort of want to just like...
just leave it in the past.
Yeah, just leave that in the past. Distance myself a little bit.
And also, like, I don't know, like, with regards to the fight game as a fighter.
Yeah.
But I imagine if it played out in the way you're describing and that you were, like, not quite your best...
Yeah.
Is there even that much to take from it? Like, would there not be more to take from a fight if you were on point and he just caught you? Like, for example, that fight where you got knocked out. At least then you can be like, oh, I was doing this, and this, but then that just snuck through.
Yeah.
Whereas this other one, like this most recent fight, it's just almost like, because you know you're so levels above that performance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely an interesting take. I think you can take something from every fight, but yeah, like you said, it's probably... Where I fought at my best, there's probably more that I can take away from it because, you know what I mean? Like, like I said, I didn't fight at my best and it's like I wasn't doing what I'm capable of.
Yeah.
I still probably, you know, my coaches have probably taken stuff away from it where they're like, all right, he needs to work on this, he needs to work on that, whatever it may be.
Would there, again, I could be way off, but would there almost be more to take from immediately before the fight in terms of mental preparation and how you got yourself ready.
Yeah.
As opposed to the actual
agree.
performance.
I definitely think that's something that needs to be looked at. I think this one was a little hard because before this fight, like I'd recently switched gyms.
Right.
So I used to train at a gym called Trinity MMA, and I had pretty much all my fights out of there. Got to a point where the guy that was a head coach, Nick Hughes was his name, he ended up leaving, doing his own thing, just focused solely on grappling.
Yeah. And
when that kind of happened, the gym sort of slowly, I don't want to say fell apart, but the fight team, people kind of stopped fighting. I was going to classes and there'd be maybe one or two guys showing up. So I wasn't really getting the work in.
It's because this gentleman that left was a key figure.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Key figure. And then people kind of started dropping off. And then I'm rocking up for sessions. I'm not getting the work I need. So I'm like, I love this gym, but I've got to go elsewhere. And that's when I started training down at M16 in Seaford.
Yep.
But I'm trying to think of the best way to put it.
Was you train in Seaford?
Yeah.
I thought you were saying you lived in Seaford.
No, I live in Shadow Park.
Right, yeah, cool. That's why I was that's why before I was are you going back to Seaford or that's why. No. Anyway, so yeah.
But
go on.
I'm trying to think of what I was saying. So yeah.
Moving gyms, you were training.
Moving gyms. So going into this, I had all my fights out of Trinity. And then going to M16, it was my first fight with them. So everything just felt kind of different. And I'm very, can't think of the way to put it, but I'm definitely one of those people that's very much in their head.
You're speaking on yourself?
Yeah. I'm very much in my head. I'm overthink things.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people might sound silly, but I like to get to the arena early before a fight and just
feel it out.
Feel it out, practice the walkout. I want to... Or I don't like being the first fight because I like to see someone else do it before. Just so I know the process of how it goes.
Yeah.
And I know that might sound bizarre, but it's all right, that's where they walk out from and they walk around the cage this way. It's such a minor thing that most other people wouldn't give a fuck about.
Yeah.
But for me, it's one of those things I don't want to walk out there and walk the wrong way around the cage. It's just...
Yeah, okay.
So I'm very much in my head.
Everything is ran through before you do it.
Yeah. So going into a fight, being through a different gym, it just felt so different. And I think that might have contributed to a little bit because I'm just this is different.
Not quite comfortable yet.
Yeah. I haven't fought for a while. We're doing and not in a negative way. We're doing things a little bit different to what I'm used to. So it's just I think it was just I can't think of it the right words, but it was just different. And I don't know, that could have contributed to it a little bit, but now knowing that, I'm all right, I need to put these things in place so I do feel a bit more comfortable going forward, whatever it might be.
At the time of the fight, how long had you been at this new gym for?
I'm trying to think. Probably a good 6 or 7 months. I've always had a good relationship with them. So I've